All right, welcome to video number 3. So let's get back to it. We have our rainbow. So we're going to do our distributive property first. So we've got 5 times b is 5b. 5 times 6 is 30. And I bring down what I did not use. So I'm going to do the inverse with my constant first. Bring that down, and we have 5b. So we have 18, take away 30. So what is 18? Take away 30. You should get a negative 12. Divide both sides by 5. And when you do negative 12 divided by 5, you get a negative 2 4/10. Here, remember I said when you are multiplying by a fraction, you take whatever the fraction is. So the fraction is 1/2. So we're going to take half of 6g. Half of 6g is 3g. And half of 2 is 1. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Bring down what I did not use. And 3g equals 11. Do my inverse of my multiplication, which is to divide. And g is going to equal 3 6/10, but this is going to be repeating. So if you remember when we talked about repeating decimals, the way we write a repeating decimal when it is repeating the same number, that's why it's called repeating. You put a line over what repeats. Okay. Over here, since I cannot do anything with this yet, the only thing I'm going to do is bring that down. So I'm going to change colors for a minute. So I'm going to bring down my 6m because I did not use it and I cannot use it. This is where I distribute. I have 4, whoops. I'll just put plus negative. I have 4 times a negative 2, which is a negative 8m. And then I have 4 times 6, which is 24. Now, before I do anything else, I need to look over here and say, wait a minute, I can see something here. This and this, I can combine my terms because they have the same variable. So 6m plus negative 8m, or 6m minus 8m, when you combine these two, you get negative 2m. Because remember, opposite signs, positive and negative, means you subtract. And then bring everything else down that you have not used yet. And then I'm going to work with my constant. I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. That zeroes out. Bring down my negative 2m. 10 minus 24 is negative 14. I do the inverse of my multiplication, which is to divide both sides by the negative 2, because remember I said the negative, when you're dividing by a negative, when you're dividing to isolate your variable, if there is a negative, you have to divide by that negative as well. That goes to 1. M equals a positive 7, because same sign, positive answer. Okay? We're going to do the same thing here. So just because we see that the equal sign is here and not over here, it does not change what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is exactly the same. It does not change. So I still have my 45 and my equal sign. -9 times -p. You're just taking the number and the letter and you're putting them next to each other. And because you have a negative times a negative, anytime you have same sign, your answer is positive. Now we have a -9 times a +6. Your answer is going to be negative, and 9 times 6 is 54. I'm going to add 54 to both sides. This is going to be 99 equals 9p. The inverse of multiplying to get p by itself is again to divide both sides. And 11 equals my answer, or my value for p. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of skip over to this one because I want you to see how to do the division, because we haven't done that one yet. So the first thing I do is not to try and get rid of this division. The first thing I do is I'm going to isolate this entire term. And I'm still going to subtract 17 from both sides. Because remember, as I said, the first thing you're going to do when you're looking at a two-step or a multi-step equation, when you're looking at a two-step equation, is you are going to look at your constant and say, is it going to be adding both sides or subtracting from both sides? So if you go back to the rules, you add or subtract first on a two-step equation. So 28 minus 17 is going to give you 11. To do the inverse of my fraction, and as you know, we've said this many times, a fraction is division. So the inverse of dividing is multiplying. R equals 11 times 3, 33. Now, down here, I'm going to go down to the bottom. And the only one, I think, let me see what we have time for. Let's see which ones. I think we have time to do at least 29 and 30. Let me see what our time is looking like. Okay. So we're about seven minutes in. So let's try this. Let's see if we can get this done. So the first thing I'm going to do, put the lid back on my pen. When I'm looking at a word problem, I'm going to use cubes because that helps me to remove or isolate the information that I need, and only that information. So for C, I'm going to circle my number, and I'm going to circle this number here. And I'm going to see if I see any other numbers. Yes, I see 60 square feet. Now this goes with it. That goes with it. That's that unit of measure. So I need to determine what is my variable going to be. For that, I'm going to look at my question. It says, write an equation to represent the cost of 1 square foot of flooring. So this question is not asking me to solve anything. What it is asking me to do is to write an equation and identify the variable. So let's look at what the variable should be. All right. Go back to the question. Write an equation to represent the cost of 1 square foot. Okay. 1 square foot. So that means we need to know the cost of 1 square foot. So we would write cost per square foot. So if I go back to my equation and I look for anything that tells me what operation I need to focus on. So I'm gonna go back up here and I'm gonna say, okay, 60 square feet of flooring for $287, including an $80 installation fee. This word here, what do you think that would mean? What is it telling us to do? It is telling us to combine, to put together, which means I'm going to use what as my operation. I'm going to add, and then I have what needs to be my equal sign. So let's start with what we know. We know that the total of the 60 square feet of flooring was $287. So I'm going to put $287 there because I know that whatever this is plus whatever this is going to equal $287 based on the question. So then I need to look at what is constant, what will not change. Go back to the question. No matter how much flooring I need per square foot, how much am I going to pay before I tell them I need this amount of flooring? Is there an initial fee? Is there a starting point? Yes, there is. It's an $80 installation fee. So it gives you the information here. So I know that no matter what I do, I have to pay $80 for them to put the floor in, even if I only need 1 square foot of flooring. I still gotta pay them $80 to put down that one piece. So now I have 60 square feet for $287. So over here, I would put 60, and then because I do not, because I do not know the cost per square foot, this word per means to multiply. That's my equation. 60x plus 80 equals 287. Okay? Now we did one like this, like number 31. And I'm not sure if you can see that one, but that one is a little bit more complicated. I want to look at number 30, and I want to make sure that we are not going to go over our time too much. And you won't necessarily see number 30 as often, but it's a good practice, and we have done one like this in class. Oops. So I'm going to slide this over. Okay. Sorry guys, I had to make sure you can see it and I can't see my screen. So a mom bought her 3 kids. Let's just start with that. She has 3 kids. Bought her kids 3 cartons of milk. So she bought 3 cartons of milk for $1.25 each and 6 donuts. The total was $6.90. So we're writing an equation to determine the cost of 1 donut. 1 donut. So what am I going to say is my variable? 1 donut. So we're looking for the cost of one donut. Okay? The cost of one donut. How many children did she have? She had 3. And she bought each one of them milk, and she bought them a donut. Okay, so each one got a milk and a donut. So what you're gonna do here, you have each child got the same thing. You got a donut and milk, your sister got a donut and milk, your brother got a donut and milk. So 3 of you got the same thing. So rather than write that 3 times, you'll do 3 times the quantity. So $1.25. So each one of you got a milk. So this is our carton of milk. And then how many donuts? We had 6 donuts, right? And how much did she pay for everything? She paid $6.90. So that is how you do one of the any type of real world problem that focuses, or that not focuses, any real world problem that has something that everybody in the problem had, or more than one person had. So if she had 5 children and each one of them had milk and donuts, then I would have 5 here, because 5 kids had a carton of milk. Each milk is $1.25. Not all 3 are $1.25. Not all 5 would be $1.25. Each one is $1.25. So really, you would have to multiply this times this in order to find out how much she paid for the milk total. Okay? You would have to multiply that to find out what she paid for the milk. So I hope this was clear enough for you. We still do have one more video, and that video is going to focus on more of these real world like problems. So hang in there, guys, and I'll talk to you in the next one.